Stargirl and the Lost Children, issue 6. Geoff Johns writing, Todd Nuck on the art. So, yeah, this is the ending. Do you know what? They do something really obvious here that we really should have seen coming, but for some reason I never considered it, which is just the simple idea that Stargirl like opens this by saying, "Oh, when I was on the JSA," and it shows you like them in the ship from that early Geoff Johns, JSA story, and it's like, "Our man's my friend, and I'm going to help him because something's not right with him." I never expected them to pull on those strings of like, "Hey, she was on a team with him," and maybe it's just because I didn't realize that this Stargirl had that in her backstory.
And I kind of forgot because again, Stargirl's been gone for so long.
Well, that's the thing. Like, obviously, Rebirth like brought back a lot of things in anyway, so I guess all that got restored. But I guess I just never considered that. Oh yeah, this is going to be someone that she worked with before, and instead of being like, "Who are you? Why are you being a villain?" She's like, "Okay, something's wrong with you. I have to help you.
I want to help." Yeah,
and sure enough, there's something in his brain that's making him do shit.
Yeah, so. And I literally in his brain, which I did love that aspect.
Literally, literally, there's like a chip in his brain that's making him do stuff.
Because he's a futuristic android that somehow also has a mechanical brain. Which again, comics, I love it. This is why I read this silly stuff.
Yeah. It turns out to be Corky from the future, the Time Master.
From a potential future, because now we're doing the timey-wimey stuff. And
at the end, Corky is like upset because now he thinks everyone hates him, and he's like, "Well, I've really become that." And the other Time Master's like, "Nah, that was a potential future. We've already dealt with him now.
We've already dealt with him, but this isn't why you're not allowed to have friends." And I thought, man, this might be the darkest John statement that I've read in quite some time.
There's a lot of fighting early on. I don't really have much to say about that per se, but I did think the Stargirl caring about our man as a friend actually did kind of, it surprised me and hit me a little bit in a way I wasn't quite anticipating.
Because that's what it seems like this last issue is about. Also, is this friends and family and legacy and what that means, right? So like Stargirl as well as a legacy, just like that Our Man is, and so she feels a kinship with him with that, not just because they're on the JSA together, is that what they represent and that she wants to help out because it's her friend, but also what that means. At least that's how I read it, what that means throughout. Because no one would want to leave her behind.
Yeah, it turns out Corky's there to take Wing and put him back in the timeline because he's supposed to die saving the universe.
Right, so young Corky, kid version of Corky.
Yeah, young Corky, yeah.
That was his mission.
Which he does, and Wing sort of accepts this and agrees to do it, even though no one else wants to let him. But he does it, he saves the universe. But as he's jumping into the timeline again, Stargirl uses the staff and like sort of basically everyone holds on to her, and they all get dragged back into the real timeline again, which is how everyone gets home. So Courtney shows up at home with 30 missing teenagers.
It kind of reminded me in Bill and Ted when they show up in the time machine in the back and they all start talking to Missy.
And there's a little tease for the Jay Garrick story where you just hear you hear Judy call him dad.
Which I found curious in that Johns wrote into this that because of paradoxical stuff, because of the future Corky, this is how I took it too. The future Corky taking them out of time the way that he did, they couldn't go back to their time because it had already moved or solidified. Yeah. So because of paradoxical things, they have to remain in Courtney's time.
Yeah, so I'm assuming this Jay won't remember having a daughter, and he's going to have to get to know her in the new miniseries, which is fine. Right. Like that sounds like a fun story to do.
Yeah, for sure. But I also like that they point out like characters that have families, like Ladybug, right? Like they're gone, and they're these kids at a time. So I thought that was all very, very interesting for Johns to point out.
Courtney's also formed a team with these characters called the Young Justice Society, which is a cool name. I have to. that's not bad.
Well, and it's fusing that legacy name of Young Justice with Justice Society, so that's good. But yeah, the Mother Goose stuff, or Mother Goose, whatever her name was, the bird lady. I thought that was all pretty cool when she gets that face mask cracked and she's got a full-on beak underneath. It was all very, very creepy. But Nock's art in this one, I like the layouts a lot. Like there's a lot of cool sequential stuff. Like there's that double page spread with Courtney and she's doing like a flip and she's going over like the whole battle scene.
It's actually like 2 or 3 2-page layouts that are all the same 4 vertical panels.
Yeah.
But yeah, the last one I think is the one where she's doing the flip through the panels. Yeah.
I think that all looked really, really nice because you know, and all the characters really pop. Like none of them are like lack of detail.
They do. I will criticize it a bit because I feel like 3 or 4 of the issues of this book have been like all the same characters in these big fight scenes where there's just a massive bodies.
True.
So I will say it's a little hard to like, I don't know, sparse any of it out and like see meaningful parts in some of it, but it works well enough. It does say at the end, we'll see Stargirl and the Young Justice Society in JSA issue 6, which I have to point out that if JSA hadn't kept being delayed, that would have probably been coming out quite soon. But I think we've only had 3 issues of that so far.
3. Yeah.
So it'll be a little bit then because we're still waiting on issue 4. But yeah, JSA is coming. So very cool. Sure. So, you know, it does feel like ultimately this is going to tie in to that main GSA story a little bit down the line. And it would have been timed really well if the other one hadn't been pushed back. But hey-oh, it is what it is. But I do appreciate like Stargirl caring about our man. For some reason, I never considered that happening. And it actually was like, it was the heart that made this last issue work, I think. Beyond just the fun setup of, okay, we've got all these characters now. Courtney's going to work with them. We'll see what they do with that. So
and then them knocking his brain out and taking the chip out, I thought was very funny. So you know, but yeah, no, very very fun read. Nice fitting ending. Still wasn't expecting quirky, timey-wimey stuff. So it was the line that Our Man had about the raccoon always having troubles. You know, always having trouble. And I was like, that's a weird statement. Is this, you know, has Our Man been fighting the Time Masters? And so wasn't expecting it to be quirky.
I do like when the old Corky shows up through the portal and he's got the raccoon, or the beaver, whatever it is.
It's a raccoon.
Like, I like how even the raccoon looks like kind of like he's been through a war. You know, he looks like he's been in Mad Max or something where they both look like they've had a rough time. That gave me a chuckle.
And also the darkness of the Time Masters too, painted there at the end about how, you know, we're not allowed to have friends and family because we're on a very important mission. Oh
yeah, I mean the last panel of the book is Corky just looking depressed as hell because like everyone hates him and he's terrified that he can never be anything else.
Right.
So
but yeah, it's curious to see how that plays off in with the Young Justice stuff because he's also popping up in that book, right? Like, well, not him, definitely the Time Masters. So we'll see.
Yep. All right. What you rating Stargirl and the Lost Children issue 6?
I'm gonna give this an 8. I had a good time with it.
I'll probably just go a 7 again. I think. You know, some of the big group fighting scenes just feel like we've seen about 5 of these already with all the same characters.
True.
So, but I did like the heartfelt parts of it, and I like John's playing with all the continuity stuff.